Dear organizers, dear colleagues, thank you for this workshop about anthropology's role in the context of landscape degradation and environmentalism. My name is Maike Melles. I'm a PhD candidate at Goethe University in Frankfurt, Germany, and in 2018 and 19 I conducted fieldwork in southwestern Spain in a landscape known as La Dehesa. The Dehesa is known beyond the region and outside Spain as the place where the Iberian pig is reared, from which Iberian ham, a famous culinary brand, is produced. It requires that the pig during the last 2 to 3 months of its life is fattened on acorns, which in this quantity are only available in the Dehesa with its many oak trees. Today, I want to focus on what I judge to be a distribution and epistemic conflict related to Andalusian dehesas. Nowadays, dehesa is an eco-scientific term pointing to certain physical aspects. In this way, the dehesa may be defined as a savanna-like landscape with numerous oak trees. Why do I say nowadays? Because dehesa used to have a more economic meaning. Dehesa used to be a category of land tenure, and its meaning changed throughout the centuries, from a substantial landscape entailing communal use rights, even in the case of seigneurial ownership, to a landscape that is privatized and mainly looked at from afar. From a vast landscape roamed by shepherds via the famous cañadas to a landscape enclosed and fenced. When agriculture and livestock farming became increasingly mechanized and gigantic intensive animal feeding operations were built, dehesa farmers came under great pressure and increased the animal load in their pastures, leaving them without capacity of recovery. As one farmer puts it, the animals eat more with their feet than with their mouth. Biologists attribute a key role to the now compacted soils and the spread of Phytophthora cinnamomi, a fungus-like mold that attacks the roots of the oak trees and irreversibly prevents them from providing the tree with water, causing the oaks to dry out and die. The phenomenon is commonly known as la seca and is an existential threat to the livelihood of many farmers. What's the solution? Decrease the animal load again and release the soils. But this may clash with the economic survival of the dehesa farmers. Those who are lucky breed Iberian pigs under the protected designation of origin, in which case they obtain high prices for the comparably few pigs and meat products they yield because of their gourmet character. However, some farmers do not rear pigs but cows or sheep. For them, a rather recent movement may provide the solution. Holistic management seeks to lead the way out of overburdened soils by imitating animal herding the old way, gathering all animals in one small plot for a short period of time before moving them to the next so that the soil may recover. However, this is quite a sophisticated method which requires a lot of planning. The whole available pasture land has to be divided into many fenced plots so that the animals stay inside and intensively fertilize the soil before it is left to regenerate for a couple of months. Many farmers are skeptical of this new method since it contradicts what they have practiced throughout their lifetime. Holistic management is one strand of many within environmentalist practice and activism. For example, many engage in the valorization of artisanal and organic agricultural products. I want to address the question of the different knowledges held or forgotten about the dehesa and the epistemic hierarchies I observe between environmentalists and landowners on the one hand and villagers and land workers on the other. One of my interlocutors is Joanna, a 30-year-old Portuguese and trained vet who holds a position as the farm manager of an organic dehesa farm and who draws on a lot of expertise in environmental and ecological questions and techniques such as holistic management. However, she also likes to complain about the farm worker Julio, who has been working on the farm for almost 20 years. To her, he is not the right choice for the farm as he holds no knowledge and does not value organic farming principles, visible from the fact that he usually buys his meat in the village's supermarket. Instead of going to school, Julio learned his handling of animals in his early childhood from his male ancestors who used to work as farmhands in the olden days. Julio has been dreaming of owning land for livestock farming, knowing that he will never be able to afford even a small plot. Resignation speaks from his words. You have money, you have power, you have campo. You have everything, whatever you want. It's always been like that and will be. You've seen a lot of people, very well dressed, but they don't work. And maybe they don't like the campo. I'm sure they don't. Joanna acknowledges the unequal distribution of land. It's not the fairest thing for me, but that's how it is here. I'm grateful that luckily people have come and that today we are still in time to manage to preserve it or give it the value it should have. To Joanna, redistribution of land would even cause damage to the dehesa. Her cautionary tale comes from Portugal, the Canadian Revolution of 1974. While the revolution was a milestone in the reallocation of land, it had a negative impact on the wooded environment since, according to Joanna, people had no connection with the dehesa, which is why they cut down the trees and cultivated the land. This is how large areas of Portugal's dehesas were destroyed. She sees the same dynamic at play in the Spanish case. Before that, I prefer that they were señoritos who owned the dehesa. Joanna acknowledges that the villagers are the first to defend their lands. Because they have lived here, they have worked day and night, they have suffered a lot. But unfortunately, many don't know the environmental value they have. It takes the alliance of environmentalists and landowners who usually live in the cities. The same person who defends the dehesa will also defend the Pyrenees. Maybe those environmentalists are the ones who launch the struggles, who try to teach the good and the bad, right? And then these people who are the owners can really make decisions. A lot of those people with a lot of money want to eat well, live well, rest easy. They want to have a healthy life. And that is, if you don't maintain this, so even if it's just for themselves, they recognize that it's a paradise for them. I'm convinced that the many initiatives for the protection and preservation of the dehesa have given rise to a widely shared spirit of optimism. However, what I observed is that this optimism is above all a phenomenon among those who are well equipped with education and land ownership, or both. The villagers are usually left out and do not seem to take interest. Usually when I think about environmental activism, I think of homogeneous groups with unified voices, and I think of them as already constituted. But what if people do not even think about taking action, but when their hopes and the sense for their own rights were given up long ago? What if what I perceive as a contested landscape is not contested at all? My situation is peculiar. I sympathize a lot with environmentalist activities aimed at a sustainable future of the dehesa. However, I feel puzzled by the abyss between them and the villages who seem completely apart. As an anthropologist who has collaborated with historians from Seville, I know that the dehesa used to be a powerful concept with moral economic implications. How to deal with this knowledge?